You see, we got to make sure that if somebody is being sexually abused in any way, assault, assaulted in any way, that they can come forth and report that. They need to be protected. Their identity, I don't have a problem maintaining the secrecy of their identity and all of that. But here's the thing. We have to make sure that the person that's being accused, that their rights are protected as well. Why is that? Because in American jurisprudence, there is the concept of the presumption of innocence. What that means is, until you are proven guilty, you are innocent. I remember some of these high-profile cases, say OJ and different ones like that. The first thing law professors and attorneys and all these people would come out that obviously have incredible educations far beyond mine. And they would say things like, now this doesn't mean, because they were acquitted, this doesn't mean that they're innocent. That just means there wasn't enough evidence to convict them. And you know, it's ridiculous to me, because what it does is undercuts the reality of when I say the reality, the reality within the law of the presumption of innocence. If I'm presumed to be innocent until I am convicted in a court of law, or in this case with Kavanaugh, it was a hearing, until that point, the person is innocent. It is atrocious. It is unfair. It is every horrible thing I can think of to say, you know what, there's not enough evidence, there's not enough corroborating witnesses, but you know what, we're going to cast aside the bedrock principle of American jurisprudence and say, but you're still not innocent. We're going to discard the presumption of innocence and declare you guilty, but we just couldn't convict you. And this is what some of the talking heads will do. And I think that's a miscarriage of justice. Because what you do, every time that happens, we take a brick out of the integrity of our system of law. Now, I'm not a trained attorney and not trying to pretend to be, but I do have maybe a layman's, I guess we'd say a layman's understanding. I would probably, and admittedly, have my lunch eaten in the courtroom trying to defend myself or speak and keep up with the attorneys or the judges, and I wouldn't try to do that. But what I'm simply saying is that if jurisprudence, if the presumption of innocence is the bedrock principle of American jurisprudence, and I state to you, and I believe that it is, then talking heads, especially law professors and attorneys and so forth, that say these kind of things are partly at fault for the decay of this concept of presumption of innocence, because they're speaking as legal authorities and they're paying little to no respect to that very basic principle. And let me tell you what, if you've ever been falsely accused of anything or mistakenly identified with any type of thing like that, you will be appreciating the basic principle of the presumption of innocence. Because what that does is that puts the burden on those that are accusing you of something to prove it. The burden is not on the one that's accused to prove that they're innocent. That is not how that is supposed to work. The burden of proof is on those that are leveling the charges. Now, I realize that we live in a time where it's not so much the validity of the truth as much as the seriousness of the accusation. That is a miscarriage of justice. It would seem to me with the way these things can happen and actually turn a person's life inside out, that every one of us would be hard core supporters of the presumption of innocence, regardless of which side of the political aisle. Because you never know when somebody's going to accuse you of something. You never know. It may be somebody that you love, you trust, that you have an expectation that they love you and appreciate you. And again, I'm sure, because I've talked to some women and they've been in situations where they love somebody and trust them, and then the person took advantage of them. And I'm saying that I think it's great that they can come forward and they can have that dealt with. But if they're lying, then that's an equally heinous crime. Because to falsely accuse somebody, to make someone, to cause somebody to bear the penalty of having done something that they did not do, is a most incredible miscarriage of justice. And I think what we got to do is we got to get back to the word and become people of integrity. And I want to close out with just one, a little bit of teaching here in Hebrews, and we'll be finished. This is the two-part in our Pastor's Corner today. Here's what it says in Hebrews 6. Hebrews 5. It says here, for the time you ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God, and become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat. For everyone that uses milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. Discernment is not based on what you feel. It's not based on your emotions for today. Did you have a good day? Are you angry at the Democrats or the Republicans today? No, it's not about that. It's not about what you feel. It's not about whether you like somebody or dislike somebody. It's about looking at a circumstance and situation, evaluating the information that's before you. Not what you prefer, but what is actually there. And discerning the good or the evil. We become so lazy that we just want to feel something. Anyway, I'm Tony McGee, Pastor's Corner. Be blessed. We'll talk to you later.